Hi, my name is Susan Weimer, and my blog is www.stampbackandrelax.blogspot.com. I'm Susan_Weimer on Instagram, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm here for the Craftin Desert Divas design team. I have a post up on the blog today, and we will be using one of their older stamp sets, but one of the new stencils. So here's the card we're going to make using one of our Twinkle Toes stamp set and the Cloudy Skies. It's actually really very pretty stencil. Some Distress Oxides, some water, and this really pretty stencil, which really reminds me of lace. And this little cute ballerina from the set Twinkle Toes. And I'm just feeling which side of the paper is the smoothest side, and please excuse the setup. I've been promised that for Mother's Day I will be getting new lighting and a different tripod so it's not showing in my videos, and my computer will be moved. Now we'll see if he follows through. So you may have noticed that I initially went to place the stencil down and tape it down just like you normally would. But for this technique, we're not going to do that. This is the technique where we mist the stencil with water and then lay the wet stencil down to remove some of the Distress Oxide. It's just it's doing things sort of in reverse. I actually think and I was leery of trying this. I think I like it better than blending through the stencil. If that makes sense, especially with a stencil that's got lines as fine as this one. Although one of these days I'm going to try spraying my stencils on one side with tacky glue. So I'm just applying the Distress Picked Raspberries and Worn Lipstick till I get a nice consistency. I don't really want to see the paper through this. This is Bristol Smooth by Strathmore, and I've heard from friends that the Canson Bristol Smooth is also really good, but I haven't had a chance to try that yet. So I was just checking with positioning the stencil what that was going to look like, and I decided that I needed a better transition between the darker pinks and the white of the cardstock. So I'm adding some Tattered Rose, which I just love. I think it's one of the prettiest colors they've come out with yet. We're just going to put that in there. Oops, don't knock your water bottle down over. It was not a good idea. I actually made a mistake. And I'm actually going to, in the end, cut this down into a 4-bar card size, which is 3.5 by 4 7/8. And so now I'm just misting. I've moved the paper out of the way because I don't want any water misting on it, and I'm misting the stencil. And I've got it sitting on top of the cloth I used to catch my watercolors. Please excuse that. It is clean. Now I'm bringing the paper back because it's safe. It's away from the spray bottle. I'm just going to lay the stencil down and just gently pat the stencil down into the ink so that I can get that oxidization. I think what it's doing is removing the ink, which we used to call ghosting, I think. So I'm just going to dry it with my heat gun because I want to add some shimmer spray. And again, excuse the lighting. This was just another cloudy, then sunshiny, then cloudy, then windy, then almost rainy day in Florida. And I'm using Sheer Shimmer Craft Spray from Imagine Crafts. And Craftin Desert Divas has that in the store. But what I did do was I just splatted on the drops. I did not dab them off. I let them dry on here. I wasn't interested in getting a sparkly pigment removed look. I wanted to see the sparkle on top of the pigment. So I moved it over to dry, and now I'm going to stamp my little elephant, my ballerina. And I'm going to use Memento Tuxedo Black because that's a Copic safe ink. I'm just going to stamp her down. And I don't know why I twirled my finger there, but anyway. So there she is, and I'm going to color her main part of her body with the grays. I have C1, C3, and C5, and then C7 for the little bits of her hooves that are showing. And then I have R20 and R22 for her ballet slippers. And her dress is going to be V01, V04, V06. And her little crown ends up being Y17. And I got in too close. So I'm still new to all of this. But the first thing that I'm doing is mapping in my shadows with my lightest marker, which is C1. And I still haven't figured out at this point that this is my dry C1. I have two C1s. I have two, I think I have 5 or 6 duplicates of Copic markers. But anyway, one of my C1s I refilled. One of them I did not. I'll fix that later. So I admit to being slightly confused with exactly how I wanted to shade her. And I need to really work more on some classes. I think I could have left more of her trunk in the highlight, but I was thinking about the light as to coming from spotlights that were overhead, like during a ballet. So, and my little granddaughter loves to come out of her playroom, and she's 2, and she puts on a show. That's what she calls them. And she sings you the songs that she's learned in a library group or in Sunday school or from her mom. And they're just so cute. But she usually comes out in a tutu. She's got several, so we never know. Sometimes she wears 3 or 4 at the same time. So that's why I'm going to give this tutu 2 colors. So I'm just trying to fix that blending up again. And I'm going to send this off to her, adding a little R22 to the tips of the shoes. And then to her leotard, I also made that R22. And then I used C7 for those hooves. Now in her hand, she's holding a ball that's got one of the twisty ribbon wands coming off of it. Twisty ribbon wands. That's probably not even a word description. Anyway, so I'm coloring in the tutu with the lightest of my violet colors. Because I think these are the prettiest with the pinks that I chose for the background. And but I didn't want to do too close to pink because I wanted my little ballerina to stand out. So we're just going to add some at the end. And then the underneath layer of her tutu, I'm going to make R20 and R22. Because there really should be some pink on there. I could have made it yellow. It would have matched her crown now that I think of it. I'll try that next time. So the wand I'm also coloring in the violet colors. And to differentiate that from her dress, I'm going to use my white gel pen to do some decorative effects on her little dress. But I'm going to make a mistake. But here right now, I'm just going around the edge of the image and covering over the spots where I went over the lines. Which I did a lot in this case. But then I added some white polka dots to the top of the dress. And here's where I make a mistake. I just wasn't thinking about the dress being round. And then I wanted to make like a hatch mark on the bottom, and it just doesn't look right. So, but anyway, I haven't figured that out yet. I figure it out later. So I'm adding Wink of Stella because every ballerina should be shimmery. And I'm going to let that dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to add the sentiment, which I love. Dance like no one is watching. Now, a 2-year-old doesn't care. They just come out. They dance. They dance wherever they want. They'll try anything. Wow. Except for potty training. But anyway, mostly they'll try anything. And they don't feel embarrassed. Oops, I fell. That's okay. I get back up. And then at some point in our lives, we lose that. And I want her to always remember that she should dance in her life and not be embarrassed about her mistakes or trying something new or just being herself. So I hope she keeps this card. Sometimes she takes them apart. But anyway, maybe she'll hear this video someday. But being a grandmother is such a joy. I'm sorry for this pause here while I looked for something. So I've embossed that, and then I'm going to try to lay her down, place her correctly on this. And again, because it's a 4-bar card, I'm going to let her hang off the edge a little bit because I just like that effect. I don't know why. I can't tell you. I can't explain it to you. I think it just looks kind of cool to have something that's suspended in space, if you will, or cantilevered off the edge of the card. So I'm just going to make a little flag banner by hand. And sorry for that flash out. It's probably the sunshine, and I had sped the video up, so the whole one thing of sunshine coming in, it's going to look that way. It's, I think because winter's been so bad up north that I've only been here for 2 years. This winter in Florida has been more cloudy than the ones that I've been here for before. So anyway, but I've been promised the lighting problem will be fixed. So thank you for bearing with me. Now I'm just going to pop this up on some foam tape and pop her up on some foam tape. I wasn't going to, but then I just decided I just would love it if she was popped up. So I'm going to reinforce the back of her ribbon with some of the foam tape as well. And I've got her pretty heavily saturated, covered with foam tape because, like I said, sometimes my granddaughter takes the cards apart. And my grandson's getting big enough, I suppose, where he might want to do that. But I'll make him a different card, and I'll film that video. But I would like to put Dance Like No One Is Watching on his card, because boys should know that too. I need to find an image that's important to know. I could use a dragon or a dog wagging its tail. Anyway, these are important life lessons in these sentiments and these stamp images, I think, sometimes. But you send them for a reason. So I usually try to think of some reason why I want to add a specific sentiment. Or not add one. But I really like the effect that the water and putting the water on the stencil gives to the ink blending that's done underneath. So now I'm going to cover up my tutu with the mistake with another one. So now she looks a little bit more dimensional anyway. I was trying to figure out how to add some actual tulle. And now I'm going to go overboard with the sequins. And you might be saying to yourself, why is she doing that? And what you can't see is So I'm not sure why I got worried about them, are little blobs of pink that got sprayed when I either laid the stencil down or when I was dropping on the sparkly shimmer spray. And so I'm covering those up with sequins. If I were to do this over again, I think I just ignore the little tiny things you can't even see. So I guess maybe we should have a sentiment that says, make a card like no one is watching. But we know someone will open it. So I'm just going to put those there. And the sequins I have, I'm pretty sure they're from Craftin Desert Divas. And I'll have a link to the sequins and the stamped images and the stencil over on the blog. I don't think I can do that on YouTube yet. You have to have a certain number of subscribers from what I understand, but I will give it a try. Now I'm going to take them off and remove them and put them back on. But I hope everyone's weather is getting better and that spring is finally coming. I know my son and my daughter-in-law took the kids to the playground the other day, and then the next day it snowed. And I'm that mother who sent a picture of my feet in the pool. Yeah, mean. So I just used some matte medium with my craft tool pick. I don't know what this thing's called. Jewel Picker by Marvy to put on the sequins. And then I tried laying them down and dipping them in, but that didn't work because I've seen people do that. I think Debbie Hughes does that. I just wanted to try it. And I should have edited more of this out. I apologize for that. Just going back to my usual method. And again, I did a lot of this to cover up splots, but now that I think about it, they really weren't that bad. So we should make cards like no one is watching. Or that, and remember that we're not going to be there 9 times out of 10 when the card is opened. The only time you're actually there is, well, at a birthday party maybe, or a bridal shower, or a baby shower. You might see someone open your card. But you're not going to be there when something goes in the mail. So this is a pre-folded 4-bar note card. I think it's 110-pound cardstock. And then I'm just going to mount that right on there. And I haven't decided. I keep going back and forth about whether or not it's cheaper to buy the pre-made 4 bars or make them myself, because there is some paper wastage. I do save, I try to do it so that I can save bits and pieces of paper that I can use for sentiments. So here's the card, and thank you for bearing with me and with this video and the lighting. I really appreciate your being here. If you have any questions, please post them below in the comments and I'll be back to answer them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below. And if you've subscribed, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and head on over to the Craftin Desert Divas blog for more information. Thank you.